Fuck you, Joe. What's up, Dex? We're getting ready to get started.
You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode 622. I'm your host, Tricky Mick. Alongside with me, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Alex.
You know, in a little break here from the video game talk, I don't really have a team in the NBA, but if I did, I was really hoping the Timberwolves would beat the Nuggets tonight in Game 7.
We do not have Yield, at least not yet. He may be coming. We don't know. But also with me is the man who doesn't care about trophies. It's Matt.
You know, I'm not one to speak about the NBA either, but if I had a dog in the fight, I'd hope all of the arenas just collapse and we don't have the NBA anymore.
Come on, man. Inside the NBA is funny. At least for that. I mean, I know the show's probably getting canceled since the NBC now has the rights to the NBA, but
well, no,
inside the NBA is funny.
If all the arenas canceled, then the Rangers couldn't play.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm with Matt now.
Shut up.
Fear the Panthers, Ricky. Fear the Panthers.
Okay, we have some people in the chat already. Saber's here. Dex is here. Joe, he can go fuck himself. He's also here. Joe just said one New York team down, one to go. Let's go, Florida. Yeah. It's nice when you're on the sidelines and your team didn't even make the playoffs, isn't it, Joe? Just saying. Dex
Joe
says,
lives to just antagonize you.
He really does. I put a poll. I'm sure you guys saw it. I put a poll on the Facebook group about streaming, and
you mean is it the poll about why you don't get a lot of viewers on Twitch?
Well, it's yes, but that's not what my intention was. My intention was to see what people would like to see me stream, and you know, Joe just in his own capacity decided to add an extra option of an option that was already up there. So now the votes got split, but he's just being a dick. I offer him free concert tickets to go see a shitty band, and he doesn't even call me back to say, "Hey, I'd like the tickets," or "I don't want the tickets."
You offered him. You just said you offered him tickets to a shitty band, and you're surprised he wasn't like over the moon.
No, it's a shitty band in my opinion, but it's apparently one of his favorite bands.
Oh, okay.
It's Dance Gavin Dance.
Oh, he loves them. I see him post on Facebook quite a bit about them.
Yeah, I had free concert tickets for him, and he just like, nope, I'm not even going to call Tricky back. So Joe can go fuck himself.
He's got to keep the rivalry up. He can't accept gifts from you now.
Well, this is prior. This was, what was this? This was a while back. I don't know. And Dex says,
still holding a grudge?
Joe, listen, I don't have a problem with Joe. Joe just lives to troll me. I don't go out of my way to troll him.
I don't think Joe has a problem with you either, but I think he just, has a go at you and enjoys it. I don't think he really means it. I don't think he has anything against you.
Joe just might be really upset about my background this week.
Joe's just one of those cats who, he's got his hot takes, but he's always one of those guys who kind of, talks in cap locks. Always, 10 levels above where he needs to be.
He just probably just hates my background because, as he just said in the chat, listen, I'd rather die than root for the Rangers. Matt understands. Matt, do you understand?
Don't drag me into this because I don't have this ferocity for sports teams that you all do. I just enjoy watching hockey. Devils are my team because I live in Jersey, and something. If they make it, great. If not, oh well. I'm not going to get all hung up about who's coaching, who's on the front line. I just like to go watch a hockey game. That's my thing.
Just out of curiosity, have you ever seen a game in the Garden, or has it always been Prudential?
No, it's always been Prudential. I've been to MSG twice in my life. One was for the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, and the other was for WrestleMania 20.
Yeah, seeing the game in the Garden is an experience. That's all I'll say. And I'm happy I was able to bring Sweet Mama D to two of them. So, all right, enough Rangers talk. Even though they advanced to the Eastern Conference Final, it was stressful. I can't watch games with Alex anymore.
Yeah, because Tricky, I watched a game with Tricky this past Monday. Well, I say that we were basically on like FaceTime or Messenger video call, and we're talking as the game was going on. I was watching on my TV, Tricky was watching on his, and the Rangers ended up losing because they gave up 3 goals in like the final period. So I'm sure that I am a curse upon the Rangers now from now until forever.
Yeah, but my good luck charm is working, so.
That's it. Homer?
Homer. Every time Homers remember to call me, the Rangers have won.
To be fair, I think that's just a Rangers are good and win most of their games kind of thing, but.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to go on Rangers talk, but, you know, Alex, you really don't care about it, and Matt's
and our
like.
audience probably doesn't care about it either. Outside of a few people.
There's a couple people that care about it. They message me.
I'm sure but if you care enough about the Rangers, you're going to go listen to an NHL podcast with, like, people who know what they're talking about and not us.
What are you saying? I don't know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I didn't say that. Did I imply it?
Kinda.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
You know, it'd help if I had the agenda up, right?
Oh, now you're pulling to me, huh? Don't even have the agenda up.
Well, I have to reboot my computer before every show because otherwise Twitch lags. Yeah, let's do it.
Because they fired all those employees. That's why Twitch lags, because they fired all those employees at the beginning of the year.
Probably. Let's do an update trophy count. Actually, this is behind because Yield's not here to do it. Oh, Yield's in the agenda right now, so he might be coming in soon. So you guys want to vamp for a second to see if Yield pops in here or no?
Let's keep going. And if he jumps in, he can jump in wherever we are.
Something's going on. Hold on. I gotta mute myself a second.
Drilling radio.
Well, vamp a second. Something's playing on my computer. I don't know where it's coming from.
Oh, there's a surprise. Tricky doesn't know what's going on in this computer. I never have to restart my computer.
Yeah, all that goddamn spam. All those advertisements. That advertisement for penis enlargement, I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times by now, Tricky.
So I'll say this. Here's the good thing I got. I have a new order of Lego coming in shortly. And, I was putting my order in and I go to the wife. I'm like, hey, do you want anything for this? And then she starts adding a whole bunch of different things down the line. I'm like, okay, we're going to get that. It's going to take a while.
You got 1 Lego and she got like 15?
I technically got 2, but the amounts were about the same. So I have no room to talk. It's just, I got 1 big thing and she got a whole bunch of little things. But that's probably going to take about a month to get here. And unfortunately, that's all going to go kind of right into storage because I don't have space for all these large scale Lego things that I'm making now. That's why we're hoping to move in the next year or so. And I can get a room dedicated to Lego.
Was it on sale or something? Did you get a good deal on it, or why not just wait?
Because that legitimate Lego, they eventually stop selling at some point. And as a result, the things I was getting, there's like certain allotments. You don't know how long they're going to be on sale. They might run out. So I had the money. I said, all right, let me just order it, get it in, and it can go into storage and I can build it sometime later. But the big thing I got, because, I have the Imperial Star Destroyer, the UCS Imperial Star Destroyer that's like 3 feet long and 2 feet high. So the next one I ordered was the UCS Venator Lego from the Revenge of the Sith. So again, that thing's like about 2 feet long and it's pretty large. I think I want to flesh out all of my Star Destroyers or capital ship collections. All
right. I got my audio issues under control. Before we move on, Yield, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, just start your audio, and then I'll do a countdown with you.
My audio has been rolling just because I didn't know when you were going to start the countdown.
All right. Count down with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yield, you're here. How you doing, sir?
I have a headache.
I'm sorry. I yelled in your ear.
So that sucks. It just developed before I got home. So yeah.
All right.
We'll see how this goes.
All right. Let's get some more chat a little bit here. Joe wants to say, can we talk about how shitty Xbox is? No, we're not doing that. Dex wants to know, Matt, what you ordered? Is it porn?
Matt already answered that, and no, it's not porn.
Okay, that was when I was doing my video. And did you also answer from Joe? Did you order the Batman set?
So I got the Batman set, but it wasn't for me. It was for my brother because he's the big Batman fan.
Okay.
And it looks every bit as awesome as you think it would be.
And Jurassic Parky says, "Evening, guys. Nice background, Tricky. Let's go Rangers. Fuck yeah." And
What's
then
up, Parky? I saw you playing some Helldivers. Was it last night? Was it today? Was it last night? I don't know. I saw Parky playing some Helldivers recently.
And then Saber says, "Matt doesn't watch porn."
I thought you knew me, Saber.
He says you watch Transformers.
Even better, I watch Transformers.
I was gonna say,
I was going to say maybe he watched Transformers porn.
I was gonna say the same thing. You know, sadly, there probably is some kind of version of Transformers porn out there.
I mean, if it exists in the universe, there is probably some form of.
Oh, Matt's got his finger up.
No, side comment. If you've never heard of the group called the Cybertronic Spree, they're a group of a band that dresses up like Transformers, and then they play all the hits, and they go around and tour doing that.
I thought he was gonna say they dress up like Transformers and then do porn. All right, let's get back on track. Yield, I just saw you come in late, but did you update the agenda?
I just updated the trophy count since I saw nobody had updated the trophy counts.
Yeah, I was literally going into that, and then I saw you popped into the agenda. I am level 908 total trophies of 30,616 with 847 platinums. Alex.
I am level 503, total trophy count of 9,783, and a platinum count of 169 in 168 games.
Yield, sorry.
Level 509 with the trophy count of 10144, and a newly minted, as of today of recording, platinum 188.
And Matt?
Level 220, and I expect an applause out of you guys, but I now have 1,311 trophies.
Uh-oh.
I earned one this week.
You know, I didn't even notice that your trophy card changed. So what did you? Oh, you know, we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, what we're playing.
Sid is level 890 total trophies of 27,011 with 843 platinums. Just want to point out that's 4 more behind me.
Who cares? Who's keeping count?
You do, because every time he passes me, like, oh, Sid has more trophy platinums than Tricky.
I think you're misremembering Tricky.
Oh, I'm totally remembering.
It's that old age.
It's the drugs. It's the medicine.
It really is drugs. They're kicking my ass. All right, so let's get into what we're playing. Matt, we'll start with you since you earned a platinum this week. You get the honors of going first.
I did not earn a platinum.
Excuse me, you earned a trophy this week. My apologies.
Say, don't slander me like that. All right, so we'll start off with the obvious. I played Ghost of Tsushima because it came out on PC finally, and I am really struggling to not buy it again and play it so I could play it on my Steam Deck. And as a result, I just decided to go back to my PS5 and I started playing New Game Plus since I've never done that on Ghost. And I'm doing it one difficulty higher, so I'm on Hard Plus. And the trophy I got was you buy something from Baku the Voiceless, which is like the first vendor you you go up and you use the new Ghost Flower currency to buy stuff. And fun fact was I bought the charm that gives my Way of the Flame more damage, and then heavy attack spreads the flame to other targets, which is a lot of fun. I will put that out there now.
No.
I've also...
Okay.
Sorry?
No, I was just saying, because I'm looking at a trophy card, that's like, I would not have assumed that was Ghost of Tsushima on the trophy card.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I've never seen the trophy card for Ghost, but there it is. I also played some Team Fortress 2 because Channel 3 was running a weekly challenge as the Pyro get the most kills in a match. I am currently the leader. I also played a bunch of Helldivers 2, did that today with some friends. I got back into my VR headset and played Half-Life Alyx. I finished out a chapter. I got like 3 chapters left in that game, so I'll eventually get through that. Also put in more time to Dave the Diver. I know you know what it's like, Alex, but it is the further you get in that game, the more things that they introduce for you to do, and it's just amazing how much life I'm getting out of a $15 game. And it's all central. It's all relevant to the plot. Also put in some time. Tricky, you may like this game. I don't know if it's on other systems, but it's called Tape to Tape, which is like a roguelike hockey game. It's very cartoony. There's superpowers. You take on teams that have weird fighting capabilities. Like this one group is a cult, and they can like teleport or they can cast spells on you. Another team is just a bunch of refs, and like the first goal you make, they disclude the goal. They just like, nope, that goal doesn't exist. But on Steam, you can actually play with your friends, even though they don't own the game, because it's the Steam remote play together thing. So, you know, you and up to 5 people can play a roguelite hockey game. And as you go through the map, you get different powers. You can get speed. You can get shot powers. You can improve your stats. But it's a lot of fun from a hockey fan. So
what's the name of this game?
Out there, you should look for it. Tape to Tape.
Tape to Tape. Okay.
And let's see, what else was I doing?
It's only on Windows.
Oh, okay. Well, you can watch us play it one day.
Thanks.
No, but that's what I'm literally saying. That's what I'm saying. If you're on your computer, you can remote play together. Like, you can play with me even though you don't own the game or have it installed. You just have to have enough of an internet stream that you can stream it. So
I think I got that covered.
Yeah. And that's all I've been doing this week. At least that's all that I can remember.
All right, Yield.
Oh, let's see here. Been playing some Rocket League. I've been playing some Helldivers 2. I finished up the Bend the Rules DLC on KO the Kangaroo. So that's now 100%ed. And I got my latest platinum in Sackboy: A Big Adventure.
You got the platinum without me?
Yeah.
I guess I can stop playing that.
No, you can keep playing it. I didn't say I wouldn't help anybody, but I went and got it.
Well,
Because I had my niece came over and was hanging out for the weekend, and I'm like, hey, I need a co-op buddy. You're going to help me.
Not, hey, can you help me? It's no, you're going to help me.
Well, it was, I knew she'd say yes, but it was, yes, can you help me? And she's like, absolutely. And so we knocked it out. That's why I was unavailable to go sail the Indian Ocean with you.
Ah.
So maybe next weekend. Or one day throughout the week if you play video games the same time I play video games.
I'm listening to you, but I'm trying to follow the weird conversations going on in the Twitch chat right now. Apparently, Dex's dog isn't used to American dog barks.
Because Dex was saying that when Alex's dog started barking, set off Dex's dog, and I said that they were just saying hi.
Yeah, Athena had to go out the room because she was going to bug the shit out of me.
Yeah, I think it was banging the table that you were on too.
Yeah, that was with her tail. She was banging the one of the bars on the desk with her tail.
Alex, I'm sorry. Were you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's been about it. I haven't really dove into anything new yet. Probably going to be Tunic.
You got to get back in Sea of Thieves. Not Sea of Thieves. Skull and Bones.
I do need to get back into Skull and Bones. Like I said, if my niece wasn't coming over and we weren't planning on doing Sackboy, I absolutely would have done some Sea of Thieves with you because there's like 3 multiplayer trophies, and we could have knocked out 2 of them and picked up a random third to get the third one. So
I haven't looked at I'm looking at the trophies now, but I haven't looked at them before. Are they hard?
No, there's one for if I remember correctly. There's one for playing with a friend. It's either a friend or having playing the game with somebody else. There's another one for doing 5 missions in a cruise, not the word I'm looking for, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. There's one for doing 5 missions with somebody else, and then you can have 3 people in your group, and then there's a trophy for having 3 people in your group. And then there might be a 4th one that I'm kind of foggy on, but that would be it. None of the trophies in the game are overly hard. It's just can you play the game?
Deal 3,000 damage to towers using a spear? That's going to be a little rough.
No, not really. You get in your DD, you just go up to a tower, and you keep throwing a spear at it.
Yeah, but the towers are going to wipe you out real quick.
Oh, well, you just got to get 3,000 damage, and then you're done. And then you don't have to do it again.
All right. Alex, what are you playing, sir?
I'm real simple. Haven't played much of that. Haven't played before. Rocket League, Helldivers 2, although I've kind of stopped playing Helldivers 2 every night. It's more like once or twice a week because I'm at that point where I'm just not playing every single night. And then last but not least, Dave the Diver. Working my way towards that Platinum Trophy. Got the Allegiance of the Sea People, defeated all the boss creatures except for one. So, so I'm doing pretty damn well. But I still got to grind out some stuff for some of the trophies for, gain enough money to get one of the employees up to level 20. So, really just a lot more fishing, a lot more serving, and completing some missions in the game.
All right. Joe says Sea of Thieves is $35 already. Apparently there's a $5 discount already. But Yield don't care about that because Yield already got his money back. As I've been playing some spam games, obviously to pass Sid, just so you guys would shut up. But I have been playing some legit games. Played Rocket League to get the Darth Maul skin. Had to grind that out.
Who helped you do that?
You helped me get the last win. But
you tried to get me to play that wretched Heat Seeker bullshit.
Only because that was a good mode to get the goals and to farm out wins. Because literally, if you're a Rocket League enthusiast, it's not the mode for you. But it's literally just defending your goal and hitting the ball back and forth because you touch it and it automatically heat seeks to the other goal, and the onus is on the other team to defend. So you're not running around blowing people up. You're literally just defending your goal and trying to play the weird angles. So grinded that out. Got into Skull and Bones, which is the game that really caught my attention lately because I've been struggling to find a game to catch my attention.
It's not so bad, is it?
It's not a bad game. It's not quadruple A.
It's not AC4, but it's not a bad game.
No, but there are some issues with it.
Well, yeah.
I joined late. It was on sale. The most expensive edition was on sale for $50, so I picked it up. It was half off. So I got the I don't know what they're calling it, but the season pass token. But I
haven't used mine yet.
I didn't redeem mine because by the time I got on it, I only had 11 days left, and you have to grind out 90 Smuggler's Marks to get them all. So I figured I'll save it for next season. So, and then I played a little Helldivers 2. Finally got to level 10, so I was able to get my is a guard dog, which is helping because I was dying a lot from people from behind me.
What guard dog did you get? Did you get the machine gun or the rover?
I got them both, but I've been primarily using the machine gun, which I think is the one you said you like better because you didn't like the laser.
I like the rover when you're playing solo. I don't like it when you're playing with a group because even solo, it has a tendency to kill you, but it's really worse when you're playing with a group. The one thing I don't like about the machine gun guard dog is that in my opinion, you go through the ammo too fast. So then when you need it, it's out of ammo.
The one thing I don't like about it, and this is a first world problem, but it's if you die, you can't.
You drop it.
You drop it, and then when somebody else revives you, you have to wait for the countdown. Which the countdown is like 6 minutes long or some shit. So,
yeah, well that's all the weapons. They're not all 6 minutes. Each weapon has a different cooldown time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, you just need to go find the backpack, pick it up.
Yeah.
You just go back and pick up where you died.
Yeah, but the problem is if I'm, if somebody revives me, I don't particularly know where I died. And
so you just got to pull up the map and it has where you dropped everything on.
Well, that's my problem with Helldivers is I don't like their map system. Like maybe as I play it more, I'll understand it more. But when I look at that map, I have no idea what I'm looking at.
So the group that I play with, we tend to, depending on where everybody kind of branches off, because we're all pretty self-reliant on our own, depending on the level difficulty. So depending on where somebody dies, we like to go who was the closest to them when they died. So that way, if there's something you want, the person closest to you can call them in, throw you in that general direction. You can go get your stuff.
Yeah, but like I said, I look at the map. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I don't know what the tower is. I don't know what the antennas are.
Okay, so I'll give you this little heads up. So you know how you're a colored dot on the map, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, which I know is difficult for you to decipher. You will always be the center of your map when you pull it up, all right? There is a cone of vision that goes out. That is the direction that you are looking on your screen. So that is how you can tell where you're going on the map.
All right, 10-4. And what else have I been playing? I don't know why, but I got a hankering to race some NASCAR, so I downloaded NASCAR Heat 5.
I wish they'd make a good one.
I hear, and I don't know the same for sure, I hear that the one they're coming out with now is actually going to be pretty good.
Only time will tell. I haven't seen a good NASCAR game, I don't think, ever.
I did like the EA Sports ones. Especially, I don't remember what it was, but it was like the tag team system. Was it the Prelude to the Dream? There was one that wasn't bad where you could work your way up. You could start off as not the ARCA series, but the series before that. The Dirt series?
Run it. Yeah.
You could do that now.
You could run and you could work your way up. That one wasn't bad.
Yeah, well, they have those features in the Heat games now. But it's gone through like 3 different companies in the last couple years. The NASCAR Heat series, and then it went to NASCAR Ignition, which did the last one, which wasn't, I heard was not really good. And now it's a new company doing the new one. But I kind of fell out of NASCAR when they went to the 3 stages and the way the rule changes. I just don't like them. And especially I don't like the fact that now when they do the pit stops, it's only 1 lug nut instead of 5. I just think it takes away.
NASCAR Laps 2025. How about that for a title?
No. And then I've been playing, as Alex, kind of flipped out a little bit when I called it. I've been playing like an Alex ass game, and that's Tales of Kazera Zao. That
First
is.
of all,
An
he didn't-
Alex ass game.
That's the same
way
thing
he
Alex
wrote
said.
it- the way he wrote it was really weird because there was no hyphen, so it's like just like it's an ass game. Like it's like an Alex shitty game or something like that. You got to learn
That's
to
how
use
I would
hyphens.
take it.
Tricky. You got to use hyphens for compound modifiers.
I'll defend him because I've used the term game ass game before, and that just means like it's a game true and true. So he's just saying that this is a game that Alex would play.
Right, but Alex is saying I should have used the hyphen to. Otherwise, I was
To
saying
make it
was
easier.
I can't speak as to how Tricky says things, but I understood what he was getting at.
The way he wrote it, I didn't flip out. It was just like, what? What?
But Alex, you would really, really like that game.
Well, it's on Plus, isn't it?
It was last month. I don't.
Oh, well, I might have missed that one there, playa.
I don't know why you don't just put it in your library.
I usually do. I mean, there are some games, I don't put all the games in my library because I know good and goddamn well I'm not going to play all of them. But I usually add most games.
But yeah, those are the games I've been playing. All right, so let's get into our agenda.
We have an agenda.
We do, and it's a rather.
I just thought we were just hanging out and talking.
It's a rather large one too.
That's what
She said. All right, as customary when we during the watch, let's go over the PlayStation Plus game catalog editions for May. Coming from the PlayStation blog and written by Adam Michel. I don't know if that's really how I should have said
Adam
that.
Michael, maybe. I know what name you're talking about, but yeah, I would guess Michael, but who knows?
The new PlayStation Plus extra and premium games have been announced, and here's what coming later this month on the 21st. So by the time you're hearing this, it was yesterday. Red Dead Redemption 2 for the 4.
Platinum.
Deceive Inc. for the 5. The Sims 4 City Living for the 4. Crime City Rockaway City for the 5. The Settlers.
Rockay.
Is it Rockay?
Crime Boss Rockay City.
Not
There's
Rockaway.
definitely not a
The
W
one-
in that title.
Hold on. In my defense, I thought that was a bad typo.
No. It's Rockay.
Okay, hold on a second. In my defense, that looked like a bad typo because if you look at the agenda, it has the red squiggly line underneath saying
And I
autocorrect.
double checked it 5 times because I knew you were going to give me shit about it.
Tricky,
No.
why didn't you go all the way with it and say Crime Boss Rockabilly?
Or Rockadoodle.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a hit from the 90s.
The Settlers, New Allies for the 4, Standard, Alien Dawn for the 4 and the 5, Cat Quest for the 4, Cat Quest 2 for the 4, Lego Movie 2 video game for the 4, Watch Dogs for the PS4, and your premium classic games are 2 Extreme, G Police, and Worms Pinball.
Wow, they're really shitting the bed with these classic games, I'll tell you that much.
High quality games.
And it should also be noted that Horizon Zero Dawn will be leaving the service catalog at the same day as the new entries come into the service. That's news because the rumor is that it's leaving because we're getting a Zero Dawn remaster being announced soon.
Oh, that's just so dumb.
That's very Sony.
It is. Yeah. In today's Sony's gaming catalog, that is so Sony.
Saber says I need an old man glass. What the hell? What is this pick on Tricky time? Old man glass.
Because you look old.
You gave me shit about a spelling error that wasn't a spelling error.
Okay, how many times have we done an agenda where there were spelling errors, Matt?
Plenty.
Okay, so reasonably, I could assume that was a spelling error. Okay.
But see,
You know what they say when you assume?
Exactly. You should never assume.
Oh my lord.
You make an ass out of you and you.
Okay.
You assume.
Your thoughts on the list, gentlemen?
Who gives a shit? I mean, honestly, like, I don't know. Like, none of these games interest me. Yeah, I'm not going to say that it's not worth playing any of these games, but my only contribution to this conversation is the classics editions suck. They fucking suck.
Like, that is not worth the price.
Yeah, and that's the highest tier you're paying for, and that's the shit you're getting.
Like, here's the thing, though. Do they really have anything else that needs to be on the service? I don't know. I don't have it. So,
Yes.
like, what else could they put on?
PS2, PS3, and PS1 catalogs. They got more than what's on there.
Well, we did
Yeah.
have
I mean, shit, I'll take the bloody Roar games for God's sakes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I tickled your taint right there, didn't I, Matt? I saw that. Do they have anything else they could put on? Of course they do.
I don't know, because I don't have the service, so therefore I don't know what's on there or what's not.
Not a lot, Matt. A couple of Twisted Metals, War of the Monsters, and I don't know, maybe a Necrochrome game or something.
Police.
What about IQ?
IQ's on there. Look, they've got some good games on there, but they don't have nearly enough for the back catalog they could be putting on there.
What's up, Chief Steve? Chief Steve entered the Twitch chat.
But instead, you get Worms Pinball.
I don't say anything bad about Worms, but my gosh, there's definitely higher priorities than Worms Pinball.
I thought 2 Extreme was a good game back in the day. I don't think I've ever played it, but I heard that was a pretty good game back in the day.
Let's hope it holds up today for all the PlayStation 1 premium subscribers.
Yeah, never played it.
All right.
That's a snowboarding game, isn't it? Or is it a skateboarding?
I think it's just
snowboarding game.
I think it's an extreme sports game.
I mean, the only game on there that looks besides Red Dead Redemption 2, which was fun, that Crime Boss Rockaway, as Tricky likes to call it, Rockaway City. That's interesting to me only for the voice cast that they have for it.
That's the Michael Madsen, Chuck Norris /
Danny Trejo.
Oh, Danny Trejo's and everything.
Yeah.
Roboto
he's got to make that money.
Roboto in the chat says, "Have y'all ever considered buying the games you want to play instead of relying on Netflix video games?"
Yes, that's why I canceled all my Game Pass and my PS Plus. I just buy the games I want now.
If there was a game that I wanted to play right now, I would buy it, but there's not. So I'm gonna play Tunic. I've been playing Dave the Diver, but both of those have been available on PlayStation Plus, so I'm gonna play them. But yeah, there's nothing I want to buy right now.
Tunic on sale.
Tunic, it was the last sale. I don't think it's on sale right now.
No, it is not. I'll wait. Next sale, I'm probably going to pick up Tunic.
Because I picked it up for, I think it's 20. I picked it up for 10.
No, I'm good on the PlayStation Plus subscription until like 2037 or some shit. So.
Oh wow, you're a lot farther than me. I'm good through right before Christmas of 28. I looked the other day, just out of my own curiosity.
All right, moving on to our next story. This is coming from GamesIndustry.biz and written by Christopher Dring. PlayStation names Hermen Hulst and Hideaki Nishino as its new CEOs. The 2 executives replace Jim Ryan and will have split roles within the company. Hulst is the CEO of the newly named Studio Business Group, which oversees all of PlayStation's first-party team as well as covering developments in TV and film. Hulst was already the head of PlayStation Studios and co-founded Guerrilla Games, which has been acquired by Sony in 2005. Nishino will lead the Platform Business Group, which will oversee the hardware, technology, and accessories. However, he will also oversee third-party relations of third-party and indie studios. Nishino was already the senior vice president of platform experiences has been at Sony since 2006. Both will report to the SIE chairman, Hiroki Totoki. I'll go to you first, Yield. What do you think about the co-CEOs to replace Jim Ryan?
Well, I mean, you could just about got a monkey to replace Jim Ryan, and it would be better than what we had. So, I mean...
It's a good thing Daryl's not in the chat.
I know.
You're really gonna get him upset talking about Uncle Jim Ryan there.
Daryl, you can love the man all you want, but the franchise took our franchise and flushed it down the toilet. Facts.
I could go back to a conversation I had with him in a Facebook group where he pointed out all the things Jim Ryan did, and I just went point for point back to him, and I just pointed out everything Jim Ryan did wrong.
So you shot it down.
Yeah, I can go back.
You don't have to go into it.
No, I'm not going to go into it, but it's like you're looking at this with some really beer goggles.
So I'm honestly, my opinion is only time will tell. I'm not necessarily a fan of a dual CEO, but since they've already split it, so you've got a first party group and then a hardware / indie group, then that might be best to do that and then see how it grows from there. So because this may be a way for, Nishino, hope I say his name right, he might be more geared towards indies, and that might be a way to get more indie developers into Sony. So it's just, honestly, I don't know their track record well enough to say it's good or bad. I mean, Hulst has done good with Guerrilla, to look at what they've done with Horizon, but, Jim Ryan was also head of a gaming studio, and we know where that ended up.
Matt, I saw you shaking your head. Do you want to just...
I'm watching what's happening in chat.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Do you want to cover that real quick?
Because, yeah, Saber, we absolutely do mean lying, crying, nickel and diamond, worldwide franchise killing Jimmy Ryan is a useless POS, and glad he's gone, because I actually don't mind a dual CEO role. Now we know who's to blame when the non-high quality first party studio games don't come out for the next 2 years or so. And then we also know
titles for the PlayStation 6.
We know exactly who to blame when this new rumored PlayStation handheld fails horribly, just like the PSVR 2 did. And you're not hearing a lot about the Portal these days, because it was just we threw it out there. Helps all those dad gamers.
And Joe wants to know where the fuck are all the PS5 games?
He ain't wrong.
Getting made. They're hurry up making them now that they aren't doing as many live service games.
Nothing like throwing out all your games at the later half of the console's life.
Sabe also wants to say Jimmy Ryan is also British, which is already suburbly disliked.
That is not to say all British people. We have plenty of British listeners that we absolutely love and endear. It's just Jimmy Ryan's a POS.
The Ray in the chest also wants to wear the PS5 games. Roberto says handheld fails even before it drops. Tisk tisk. Ray says stop the backwards compatible BS. And then Dex says he agrees with Joe and Ray in the chat.
Ray, I don't have space to keep all the systems in place to play all my games.
He doesn't have all the space to. He's sharing space with Legos too.
I need space for Lego. I need space for my systems.
All right, Alex, your thoughts on the dual CEOs?
It sounds like Matt needs to move out to the countryside and build himself a giant house. Get some acreage out there.
He's gonna move to the country and eat a lot of peaches.
It makes presidents of the United States of America. Let's get as many '90s references on this show as we can. We'll take our lumps.
Yeah, I got that reference too, Alex. I think we lost Alex.
He froze. Yeah, we lost Alex.
I was gonna say, I thought
President of the United States did him in.
I thought he was pausing for dramatic effect.
No,
looks like he's back.
Yeah, now I'm back. So I was saying the dual CEO role. I do want to mention that you got one person still at the top. They both answer to Hiroki Totoki, so it's not like there's not one person at the top making decisions, because if it comes down to it, I'm sure Totoki's going to make that call. But to split it along hardware and software makes sense, and they basically seem to be expanding the roles that these guys were already doing. Like, hey, Nishino, you're doing this. Hey, Hulst, you're doing this. Why don't you just stay over there and do that? So to me, it makes sense. I'm fine with it. Now, if it doesn't work, I'm sure they're calling audible, but you have Totoki at the top and you have these two underneath them, taking care of the responsibilities of hardware and software. It makes sense to me. We'll see how it does. But I'm, as someone who has, played Guerrilla Games and remembers when Hulst was there leading the studio, like, to see his trajectory and see how well he's done for himself within the company, you can't be anything but, happy for the guy. And the same, being in the West, we haven't probably kept up as much as we have with Hulst's career as we have with Nishino's career, but you got to be happy for him as well, getting a promotion like this. So, splitting duties, taking some of the edge off each guy, making sure they're not overworked, or at least, they can focus on certain areas and not have to worry about everything. Maybe not a bad idea.
Joe,
I'm fine with it.
Joe wants to point out in the chat, Lego, because there's no such thing as Legos.
But wouldn't Legos be more than one Lego?
Lego is both
the
singular
brand.
and plural, because just like fish and fish.
Okay. I didn't know.
Apparently, this is like a underground argument people have on the internet.
It is.
What else,
and one that
what else is the internet for except to argue about dumb things?
Alrighty. Matt, did you actually give your opinion on the dual CEOs? I know you went into the chat.
No, he has not.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I gave mine.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I like the idea of being able to blame one person or the other.
Oh, you did say that. Yes. Okay. All right. Moving on to, I guess, the story that only really affects me.
Well, what's your opinion?
As I said in our little text group when this broke, I don't know how I feel about dual CEOs. I mean, you guys all make good points that like it's good that this person is going to focus on this person, is going to focus on that, but I don't know at the end of the day how I feel about two people making decisions. It's a weird concept to me. I can't put my finger on exactly why I don't like it, but it's just something is uneasy about it to me. I don't know what it is. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Next story coming from IGN, written by Rebecca Valentine. Ubisoft has officially canceled The Division Heartland. Previously advertised as a free-to-play shooter, Ubisoft has canceled The Division Heartland amid larger plans to refocus resources on bigger opportunities. This was first announced in 2021, and it was being developed by Red Storm Entertainment, and is just one of the games canceled in a series of cancellations by Ubisoft lately. Obviously, I did a little bit more digging into this, and I talked to a friend of mine, Roe Gold. Go follow him on YouTube. I recently did a Patreon episode with him on The Division with Tross. Really good YouTuber. But they took Red Storm off of The Division Heartland and put them on
Assassin's Creed.
No. I know they put them on Rainbow Six Siege. I'm trying to remember the other game. I think it was X Defiant. But I think that's wrong. Yeah, it's just this burns my ass a little bit because of the fact that Red Storm was heavily behind development on the Division games, Division 1, Division 2, and then they removed them back when they thought, all future support for the Division 2 was going to be stopped. They took Red Storm off, and they had them start making the Division Heartland, which was an offshoot of, obviously, the Division story. And then after 3 years of working on this game, and I will tell you, because I can now tell you this, I played the Division Heartland almost a year ago, and that game was ready to go. I played in a beta, or was it an alpha? I don't know. Might have been a beta. But I played it. There was no bugs. It was good to go. And I don't understand why this was... It was like they were... To me, obviously I'm not in Red Storm's studios. Like, I don't know the inner workings. But this game looked like it was ready to go. And then you just scrap it. And then you don't even put Red Storm back on the Division, because we all know the Division 3 is coming. You put them on other games. And you put them on Rainbow Six Siege, which is a game that's been out for what? 8 years at this point? Am I wrong? How long has Rainbow Six Siege been out?
I don't follow.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Yeah, and also find the other game that they were put on, because I don't think it was X Defiant, but X Defiant is also coming out soon, which is also a free-to-play shooter, first-person shooter, which takes guns and characters from The Division, Rainbow Six, Splinter Cell, and another series.
2015 is when Siege came out.
Yeah,
so it's going on December 1st. It'll be 9 years.
9 years, and you can you look up what Red Storm was taken off? Just look up any article on the Heartland being canceled, and they'll tell you what teams they were put onto.
You mean like an article we have in the agenda?
I don't know if he was in that article. I figured Matt would have put it in there. I'm not calling you out, Matt. I'm just saying I think you would have pointed that out. Yeah, it was X Defiant. Yeah, X Defiant and Rainbow Six. I just don't get this move. This doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not saying this because obviously I'm a Division enthusiast. I just don't understand why to do this. And then you don't even put them back on the Division. You put them on other series.
Big studios, big developers cancel shit that's 99% complete all the time because maybe the upkeep's going to cost them too much, or maybe there's some fatal flaw that comes out in the end that they just don't have the extra time and money to spend fixing. I know you said it was playable enough, but there's always things that come up, especially with games as complex as they are these days.
Yeah, I mean, even Division 2, I mean, every time they do an update, something else breaks. Like, I get it. I don't know.
Also, maybe they just didn't try. If they took Red Storm off the Division and then put him on something else, maybe they just didn't trust him with the Division anymore.
Well, then why give them an offshoot? Why put them in charge of a full-fledged not a sequel?
You mean Heartland?
Yeah, they took him off the Division 2 to put him on Heartland.
Maybe they saw what they did with Heartland and like, okay, no, we need you guys off this now. I mean, there's a reason the game got canceled.
I just don't get it. I really don't get it.
I mean, you would think that you would throw it out there just to make some money, but like Matt said, maybe the upkeep, maybe running the game simply would just cost too much money. Maybe they didn't think there was anything there that would give people, since it's free to play, maybe they didn't think there was anything that would be there to get people to spend money.
Outside of Assassin's Creed, the Division is their biggest franchise. It's even...
excuse me, sir, it's Beyond Good and Evil. Thank you very much, if you ask the fans.
Yeah, where's Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Shit, you call up. You got friends at Ubisoft. You get them up. You get them on the phone and you ask them. I don't know.
I could care less about Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yves Guillemot, what is going on with that game?
I know that trailer looked amazing. I want it.
Are you sure Far Cry wouldn't be?
Nope. Because they just had the investors call, or
Rainbow Six, Far Cry Rainbow Six.
Nope. Division is their highest franchise outside of Assassin's Creed. All right, moving on to PlayStation Life, which is Matt's new favorite website.
Yes.
Coming from Zarmina Khan, PlayStation.
You've had this article on here enough. You should be able to pronounce her damn name.
Did I mess it up?
You hesitated there.
Joe says Division's best series. You got jokes. I didn't say it was their best series. I said outside of Assassin's Creed, it's their best series. Okay.
Are you talking about money-wise or are you talking about quality-wise?
Money-wise.
Yeah, because
money-wise.
when you Call of Duty your games, yeah, you're going to be high on the
but they're not
list.
But they're not Call of Duty in their games.
They did for years. Now they've backed off.
There was never like that those kind of microtransactions in the Division.
I'm not talking microtransaction. I'm talking year after year. There was an Assassin's Creed game, and there was 2 a year.
I apologize. I thought you were saying they Call of Duty wise Division.
No, I was just because when Alex said quality wise, Assassin's Creed. Now their last few have been, people have said it has gotten way better, but for a while there, Assassin's Creed was not known for their quality.
Yeah. All right. My apologies. I thought you were saying they Call of Duty-ized the Division. I was like, no, they never did that.
Gotcha.
I apologize. All right.
Anyway.
PlayStation Life. PlayStation focus has shifted from game sales to actual play time, Sony says. Sony said that the shift comes after consumer behavior changes during the PS4 era. Rather than increase the number of games sold, they want users spending more time in those games they do sell. While this is not to say the sales numbers are not a focus for SIE, but the company wants to improve profits via player investment. Matt's note says basically continue spending money in the games you have via microtransactions.
That sounds like some Microsoft Game Pass shit right there. We don't care about the sales, or we're not focused on the sales, we're focused on the playtime.
Sony noticed it during the PS4 era where users were buying less games and spending more time, which allowed Sony to significantly improve its profits. So they want to capitalize on this trend moving forward. I also start with you since you cut me off to make your comment.
I kind of understand if you're going to a live service model where you have microtransactions in your game. And I'm talking about, more than just one DLC or something like that. You're adding content regularly, like say Helldivers. And maybe Helldivers is the game that made them, they said, during the PS2 or after the during the PS4 or after the PS4 is when they kind of switched to this. But really something like Helldivers and the success of Helldivers 2 can change your focus maybe, or they'll be like, hey, look how much people like this game. Maybe we're not, we release games to lower price and then, sell them more content as time goes on if they really like the game. But sorry, Cosmo's over there scratching. Cosmo! Yeah, I know.
Cosmo yells back at you.
But the more time you spend in games, like if I have to spend thousands of hours in Dave the Diver, I'm not spending any more money on Sony products. If I play Tunic for 200 hours, that's less time I have to spend on buying other games. So it kind of boggles my mind, with how much Sony. Oh, you're gonna crawl on the desk now, Cosmo? Yeah, no. These animals.
Fucking cats, devil spawns.
So with how Sony has kind of spurned the whole Game Pass model and said, we don't understand how they could do that. We're going to release our games for, however much, $70 now, and you're going to have to wait for them to come to PlayStation Plus. Saying that you're not as focused on game sales, I don't know. For a certain game model, that kind of works, but for games overall and how Sony has run their business on AAA games that, use cinematics and bring in, voice actors and high-quality productions, how's that going to work for them? I don't know. I just think that shifting focus to playtime, which you can play certain games without ever really spending a lot of money in them, seems like a very un-Sony thing to do. Because Sony just kind of wants to sell you a lot of shit.
I'm sorry. I'm typing to Saber because he keeps getting typed out in the chat.
And to catch up with chat, Saber says that, Assassin's Creed Syndicate is the worst game ever. I don't know what the hidden. I
played that game. It's not the worst game ever, but it's one of the worst Assassin's Creed game I've ever played.
I'm guessing he meant Origins and Odyssey were both good. Unfortunately, they took the RPG element a little too seriously. And if I'm an assassin, one stab should be enough. And he goes on to say Assassin's Creed has had problems. Syndicate is worst by far. Origin. Okay, so yeah, he goes back to repeat because unfortunately there's been a little bit of a issue in chat where for some reason it's taking some of his text as links and banning him, and I have to unban him. But then Joe Priestley comes in talking about multiplayer gaming is trash. More single player games, please and thank you. Stop catering to bro gamers and children with this live service shit. If you didn't worry about single sales, you wouldn't you have just put all your shit on PlayStation Plus? And so that goes back to the thing when Jimmy franchise killer Ryan was leaving and they started saying, all right, well, we have to cancel these 6 games and there's not as heavy a focus on live service games. They're starting to come around to understand that retaining players is the better method here. And, you see the success of Helldivers 2. And we actually took out the article, but Helldivers 2 reached 12 million in sales because it's a good game and it's a live service game done as best as you can. I'm not going to sit down and admit that live service games are great in and of themselves. But looking at what players are doing is the important thing. How are players being engaged? And if Sony turns around and goes, oh, during the PS4 era, people were staying in our games. They were playing games and not jumping between games. And, we still profited. That's great. We should carry that forward, especially since you don't have that many PS5 dedicated games to begin with. Just saying.
Yield?
I have a hard time believing that Sony is admittedly halfway through their PlayStation 5 life cycle, and they're just now saying, oh, we noticed in the PlayStation 4 era that players were playing more, staying on the games that they owned and not buying new games, so this is where we're going to shift our focus. I have a hard time that 5 years into the Five's life cycle, you're admitting this. We've said it several times. There's only a small handful of live service games that I support constantly, and eventually I do get tired of them. I am old school. I want my single player games because lately, even with DLC, some DLCs are great, and then when you roll into your second or third batches, you start mucking up your gameplay that made the original game fun. So I just stick with your bread and butter, Sony. Single player, story driven games. That's what people want.
Well, judging by the fact that Sony continues to want to come out with handhelds and VR headsets and stuff like that, we know they can't stick to where their bread is buttered because they can't just focus on the damn home console. So we know they're not going to do that. In the game space, I get it. You got to diversify your game catalog. You just have to. That's the only way you're going to maximize your profit to get more people to come to PlayStation is to have games that, more people want to play. So I understand what you're saying, Yield, but I think that when it comes to the software you're putting out, you kind of got to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Well, yeah, because, you do find, like Helldivers too. Lightning does strike. And I'm not saying you just 100% focus on it, but it seems that we've gotten away from, your Uncharteds and your Ratchet and Clanks and the games that we've come to expect from Sony. Well, we're not going to do those anymore. We're gonna go do this, and it's like, but this is why I'm a Sony fan, is because of this.
No, if anything, they're just going to sell you a Ratchet and Clank and then sell you all the Omega versions of the weapons for real money.
Yeah, right. Or hey, you want to play this level? Here's $5.
Extra planets for $1 per planet.
To advance the story.
I don't think
the option to tip at the end of games. That's what get players spending more money.
Did you enjoy our game? Would you like to give us a $5 tip?
Fuck you, Jimmy Ryan.
Joe puts in the chat, you only need to retain gamers because it takes too long to make games now.
Well, that's only because their budgets are too high. Well, that's my opinion. You can make good games on small budgets.
Dave the Diver.
Which I will remind everybody, I'm enjoying the hell out of.
I was just saying, you said Dave the Diver, and Alice's head shot up.
and I
also
bought it
shot
on
up because I
sale
don't know
for
if you all heard.
$15.
I also shot up because I don't know if you heard the background. One of our cats is going to Sneeze Town. He's just going at it.
Is that what that sound was?
Yeah, those nostril trumpets. Yeah, he's lighting it up.
I did see that as you came into the background, your cat just stood up and followed her out.
Yeah, that's Cosmo. He's the one sounding that nose trumpet.
And we still get our Godzilla DLC later this month.
The 23rd, which is going to be this week, and it's free. So,
Joe, last comment from Joe before we move on. Joe says, they tricked us all this generation and made us waste $500 on a console with no support to minimal support. Nintendo is the only one that's cranking out games consistently.
The who? Nintendo? Who?
Yeah.
No, the fuck they aren't. Yeah, I haven't bought a Nintendo game since Mario Party Superstars.
That doesn't mean they're not putting them out.
1,000-Year Door remake coming out. They had Super Mario RPG remake. They did the Donkey Kong vs. Mario. Yeah, there are some remakes, but at least they're giving us games that are updated to the current era and whatnot.
Here's the thing. I know everybody wants to laugh at Sony because or point fingers at Sony because they haven't had as many exclusive games out. But I have been able to fill that void with other things, other third-party games, not necessarily Sony games. First of all, I don't feel ripped off for getting a PlayStation 5. I still have enjoyed the hell out of the PlayStation 5. I just haven't played as many Sony games as I traditionally have. It's been filled with other games, but I've enjoyed all those games. So whether or not I, have been playing a Sony-published game at any given time, I'm still playing a lot of games. How many platinums did I get last year? Over 30, 31, 32? So I'm clearly just still playing the heck out of some stuff. So
All right, moving on to our next story, coming from Insider Gaming, written by Tom Henderson. Lego and
that doesn't sound like a real website.
Insider Gaming?
Yeah.
Yeah, sarcasm.
Okay, throw me off. Lego and PlayStation are working on a new game called Lego Horizon Adventures, based on a discovered trademark rumor swirl of a Lego-based Horizon adventure. While details are unknown, through sources said the game is essentially Horizon Forbidden West, but in the style of Lego. Yield, I know what your comment's going to be, so I'm going to let you go first.
So, if you stay with the Horizon adventure and don't necessarily base it off of Forbidden West or Zero Dawn, I would be more okay with that, because I'm getting like a different style of a Horizon story other than just a copy and paste of a game I've already played. I still think they're missing a huge mark by not doing like Lego Ghostbusters.
Joe just wants to know, where's Lego Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
That'd be good as well.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that too.
Matt, you're the Lego enthusiast.
What makes you say that?
I call that lies and propaganda.
Do you even have the Turtle Party Wagon Lego set, if that is in fact a thing?
He doesn't even know it's a thing.
I think that is in fact a thing.
I have a very narrow love of Lego. You all know this. Looks like Joe says he does. All right. So obviously, I love Horizon. I love Lego. This will be a day one purchase for me. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts on that.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, let me see here.
He's looking up to see if the party wagons.
No, I just kind of want to see if there's more to it. But yeah, I mean, Lego Horizon, like, been a while since I played a Horizon game. Didn't play Call of the Mountain. Played Forbidden West, obviously. Played it twice. Got the Platinum Trophy, did everything. But there's been enough in between where I'll at least give the game a look. I don't know, like, Lego find everything. Generally, like with Legos, if you like the IP, you're pretty well set. But also the Lego gameplay style just isn't always my favorite. So even if I do like it, I mean, like, we've all seen like the tall neck Lego set, which looks pretty cool. And then Ashley was asking me about a Tremor Tusk one as well. So I'm sure that looks pretty cool. So I'm sure that Horizon looks good in Lego. Just the gameplay of Lego doesn't always suit me. So, I might check it out. I'm not going to write it off. And obviously it being Horizon, like, you've got the IP there, so you've got my interest there. But it's just the Lego gameplay just isn't always what I wanted. It's very slow and plodding. That's not always what I really want to do, especially how collectathon. Yeah, especially with how collectathon they get.
All right, Joe said Lego teamed up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right before they got bought up. So, all right, it's that time.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
All right, so going over to Facebook, where you guys can leave us questions every week. Starting off, we're going to go with Saber's question. If you could remake any Splinter Cell game, which one would it be? And would you also keep the multiplayer from a different game attached to that one from Splinter Cell? All right, so let's be clear here. They are remaking Splinter Cell 1 right now. Or they are rumored to. I don't know if it's actually been confirmed. Joe, suck it. You want to pick on my fucking Rangers? Deal with the fucking song. You know what, actually?
Time to check my social media, yeah.
So yes, they are remaking the Splinter Cell game. Rumored. I think it's actually been confirmed. I'm not exactly sure. But go for you first, Alex. If they were going to remake a Splinter Cell game, which one would you want them to remake?
How about start with the first one? I'm not a Splinter Cell guy. I never played any of the games, but I figure the first one, that being the furthest away from this point in time, and probably mechanically the least advanced, would probably be a good one to go with.
Matt?
To bring the first one into 2024 and add new mechanics, or just kind of like, grind down the rough edges, just make it, I don't want to say it's not playable when it's in its older format, but just make it even better. Given the current technology we have, would probably be the smartest choice.
Matt?
So yeah, the first one, but to go with Saber's question is, I want the multiplayer from Chaos Theory, because you had both co-op, which was you and another partner completing up to 6 missions. I want more missions. And then you have PvP, which is the Spies versus Mercs, which is always a fun type of, kind of, it's not exactly a what's that called? Asynchronous, when the sides aren't even, but Spies having their set of tools, the Mercs having another set of tools. It was really good. I loved that multiplayer.
Saber says cat and mouse.
I don't remember. I didn't play any of the last one, so I didn't
get
into those.
Yield?
I've never played a Splinter Cell game, although I will say that it was one of the Microsoft franchises that I was like, man, it seemed interesting to play, and it would be like the type of game that I would like to play. So I agree with Matt and Alex. I would want a remake of the first one, so that way I could experience it from the beginning. As for multiplayer, obviously I haven't played any of them. I like Matt's idea of the co-op. I would be down for co-op missions, and always more of them, because that's fun to play and communicate your own strategy with a friend. So
that was a Ubisoft game, wasn't it? Not Microsoft.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yep.
It was on, but it was on Xbox.
No, it was on PlayStation as well. I think
from the very beginning.
The original Splinter Cell was Xbox only. The Pandora Tomorrow, which was the second game, is what started the split into the other consoles.
I played the original Splinter Cell on the PlayStation.
That must have come out much later, because originally it was Xbox only.
Oh.
I thought the third game was the one that went exclusive.
No.
You might want to look that up. Yeah, Dex says in chat says, I have a copy of Splinter Cell 1 on the PS2. I remember playing it on the PlayStation. All I'm going to say is whatever game they remake, if they don't have Michael Ironside as the voice, it's a failure. Saber says, originally it was an Xbox exclusive with only Xbox stages, the submarine stage, and a few others.
Yeah, I mean, it came out later, but it was originally an Xbox only game.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't like the third one. Chaos Theory or whatever. I remember they're going exclusive after. Saber says,
played Pandora Tomorrow on my Xbox OG, but then Chaos Theory is when I picked it up for the PC.
Saber says it was supposed to be Microsoft's answer to Metal Gear.
Yep.
So.
Good old Michael Ironside.
Yeah. If he's not the voice, it's a failure. Next question, also coming from Saber. What anime has yet to get a game, or what anime deserves a better game, or a different version of a game, like an RPG style? Okay, that's just... Let's just go with this. What anime has yet to get the game that you would want a game of? I'm just gonna start by saying I don't have an answer to this because I don't watch anime.
I have a very, I don't want to say a cop-out answer, but I'll say that Dragon Ball Z, they don't have like an RPG. Most of their games in the Dragon Ball Z universe are like fighting games, correct? Which does make sense for Dragon Ball Z, but
Dragon Ball Z got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which was very RPG-ish.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it would fit.
We lost Alice again. Somebody's got to get his hamster running.
But if, Kakarot is already that, then it seems like they're doing pretty well. But there is a wealth of fighting games, obviously, for Dragon Ball Z, which does make sense. But if you can find a way to branch out to other genres as well, that would be pretty good.
All right. Joe says Kakarot is an RPG, and Saber says Full Metal Alchemist and an RPG style setting or a Full Metal Alchemist action game. And then Joe says, plus I got a bunch of RPGs on the Game Boy Advance. Those were amazing. All right. Yield, go to you. What anime do you want a game of?
Anybody care to take a guess what I'm going to say?
Cowboy Bebop.
You
go.
ain't got. Oh,
there you go.
I thought you were going to say that you had no answer for this.
No. I want a Cowboy Bebop game. I know they made some for like the PS2, and I more than likely wasn't really paying attention to Cowboy Bebop at that time. But I think that type of game would do well, especially in today's market.
We have a new person in the chat, Jamie SMB. Thank you for stopping by. Left a comment saying Bleach probably could do with a new game.
Bleach hasn't been done very well in the game world.
Is Bleach an anime? I never heard of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
It's actually it's actually considered one of the big three Shonen Jump anime.
Really? I've never even heard of it.
Them, One Piece, and Dragon Ball.
I'm
not in the anime world, so I don't know.
I'm sure you can
I'm
go
sorry.
back in time and find an older anime that, like, from the 80s or 90s or something that probably deserves more screen time as opposed to something now like with Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia, because all those series both have games. So it's probably a lot easier to find like a new popular anime and put that to a game than necessarily like an older one. So the older ones you could do some fishing from the older pool and get something good.
Yield Roboto says play Super Robot Wars to get a smidge of Cowboy Bebop.
Robot Wars.
Saber corrected me. The Shonen big three are Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. Dragon Ball is on its own scale.
Okay, and excuse my ignorance here. How big is Death Note?
How big is what?
Death Note
is not. So Death Note's pretty big in popularity. I mean, it's gotten multiple live action adaptations. Netflix had their shitty Americanized version, which was I don't go watch that. It's horrible. But from a action type game, it would actually be something probably closer to like Persona or an investigation type. But the problem is, since you're playing the antagonist the entire time, it's a weird thing. And shut up, Joe. Death Note is not a weird anime. It's actually a really good anime. And Saber says Death Note is more for goth people, which I can see that. So it might be cliche for me to say it, but the anime I would choose, and it would be an RPG, is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. And because the anime already has a bunch of built-in gamification, and I think it would translate really well into a good action RPG.
Hold on, I actually have a few other answers. If I can throw them out there.
All right, before you do that, Alex, Jamie in the chat says Death Note recently got a segment in The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror.
I missed this year's Treehouse of Horror. I was looking for it.
Okay, go ahead, Alex.
The Castlevania anime. I know there's tons of Castlevania game out there, but what? Is there already a game out there for it?
Well, no, it's like, do you want to redo all the old anime, all the old games?
I mean,
or do you
let's
want one based off of the anime?
Based off the anime series.
Okay.
Because it's pretty popular. And then, is Blood of Zeus, is that considered an anime? Have you ever heard of it before?
No.
It's on Netflix, I believe.
I was going to say, you broke Mac because Mac had the look on his face like...
No, because I got rid of Netflix last year, so I really haven't had a chance to see any anime that's come out on Netflix. Especially, listen, I had Netflix for the longest time. There was nothing else I really wanted to watch on it, but the two animes, Record of Ragnarok and Seven Deadly Sins, really broke me on anime for Netflix. Like, they were good at a time, and then they just went to shit.
Daryl's really going to hate this episode. Not only are we shitting on Jimmy Ryan, but now we're talking about anime too long.
Listen, man, I plenty of times we've been on and listened to Loop Rose where the wrestling talk and whatnot talk and retailing talk. He could deal with some anime talk.
Jamie says, I would have thought Castlevania could have had a, quote, Castlevania Warriors, end quote, game, but it looks like missed out on that train. And then Roboto says, Daryl is for pervs. All right. We're just going to move on. I think we covered all three of you, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right. Will in the Facebook group says, Xbox is discounting games up to 90% ahead of the Xbox 360 digital store closing. Any y'all going to get those 360 games that aren't on Game Pass? I think only one of us owns an Xbox, and that's Yield, right?
I own an Xbox.
I own an original Xbox, but I do not own a 360.
I didn't think you owned a 360, Matt. I apologize.
I do. I own all of them.
Yeah, he owns a Lego Xbox.
Oh.
I don't own the Lego Xbox now.
And just from the some of the comments, Matt says he'll answer this on the show, so he'll get ready to answer that. Will says, I'm sorry, Joe said, I thought Xbox was all about game preservation and backwards compatibility. And then Will responded to that saying, it's my understanding that some Xbox 360 games haven't been given the backwards compatible treatment and will be lost with the closure of the digital store, in which JT responded, yes, you are correct. Not all of them are backwards compatible. All right, Matt, floor is yours.
So that's what I wanted to say is that the games that they're putting on sale for steep discounts are going to be games that are not on backwards compatibility lists. So this is really the last chance people have to buy these games. And to respond to Joe's comment about Xbox being all about game preservation is they're giving people a chance to buy these games at a steep discount to get them on people's systems, to make sure that they're available for people to play, as opposed to wildly inflated prices that many games, especially Nintendo, might not make available these days.
Shots fired.
Listen, I love Nintendo, but I'll call a spade when it's like, dude, they stopped reselling their games and now they're all on subscription services.
Saber says Castlevania had a fighting game for the N64.
Yeah, that's not the game I'm talking about. I mean, Lords of Shadow came out after that. That was the PS2 inspired by Shadow of the Colossus game, and that was after that. But no, I mean, there's been plenty of. I'm not saying there's a dearth of Castlevania games. I'm just saying, like, if we're talking the anime, like specifically with that animation style built on that anime series.
All right, and then Harry says X Defiant ? I don't know exactly what he's asking, but I guess he's asking, are any of us going to play X Defiant?
There was something I saw on Reddit. There was something going on with
yeah,
it's dangerous to go alone, Matt.
Be
careful going to Reddit.
They announced that they're not doing skill-based matchmatching in it because apparently
monetization in X Defiant, in-game purchasing. Yeah, there's a new thing about they're saying they're not going to do paying to win. They're going to reward players' time. In other words, a lot of bullshit because it's Ubisoft.
All right, Yield, you get to give X Defiant a shot.
I have no idea what it is.
It's just basically a first-person shooter of all the Ubisoft franchises. You can have characters from the Division, Rainbow Six, and other games.
So it's a PlayStation All-Stars.
In a first-person shooter world, I guess, yeah.
Okay, no.
Alex?
Not really familiar enough with it to give it a yay or an A.
Hold on.
I mean, the whole PlayStation All Stars comparison does definitely not make me want to play it.
It's not PlayStation All. It's. I don't want to call it a battle royale. Okay, I just looked it up. X Defiant is a free-to-play first-person shooter video game developed by Ubisoft San Francisco and published by Ubisoft. X Defiant is currently in development. It's a. Just trying. Hold on. Gameplay. It features a variety of factions and classes, each with their own unique abilities and weapons. It's set in the Ubisoft universe. Map locations are based on multiple Ubisoft titles in the game locations. Players are engaged in fast-paced, team-based multiplayer matches across a variety of maps and game modes. The setting of the game revolves around factions called Defiant from Phantoms from Ghost Recon, Echelon from Splinter Cell, the Cleaners from The Division, and the Libertard from Far Cry, and DedSec from Watch Dogs. Defiants are customizable traits, abilities, devices, weapons, and items. It has a 6 versus 6 linear game modes, such as Domination and Escort.
Okay, so I don't have enough fandom for the Ubisoft universe to care about X Defiant. Nintendo Super Smash Brothers, absolutely. I've grew up on Nintendo, and even like the arenas in Super Smash Brothers, like I have a strong affinity for. But as far as Ubisoft's history go, I haven't played enough Ubisoft games, nor do I care about Ubisoft as a company enough to really care about the history of their company.
All right, yield that description. Does that change your opinion at all?
No.
But I do see where the PlayStation All-Stars comparison came in.
All right, and Matt, I don't think you ever said if you're going to give it a shot or not.
Ubisoft told me to get comfortable with not owning my games, so I do that easily by not buying Ubisoft games.
Well, this is
or spending money on Ubisoft games.
This is a free-to-play, so you're not going to spend any money on this.
Well, yeah, according to them, there's going to be monetization.
Nobody said you had to buy the microtransactions.
Yeah, well, yeah. No reason for me to try a game that I'm never going to own.
Jamie says, the only thing I really care about from Ubisoft that I look out for is Rayman. Love Rayman Legends, Rayman for Smash.
Yeah, Rayman was back when Ubisoft was at their prime and making good game-ass games.
I hate to say this,
make sure you put a hyphen in that. I just broke Alex.
No. I think that, Jamie, I think that any hope of Rayman and Smash Brothers went away when Rayman did not get picked for Ultimate, because all signs to, if we get another Super Smash Brothers, point to it being a much smaller production and not the, hey, we go out and buy a bunch of third-party characters kind of thing.
Okay, before we get on a topic of the week, I just want to ask this. Does anybody feel like they overdid it with the amount of characters they put in Ultimate?
No. Put in 1,000 more.
Really?
The smartest thing they could have done is keep doing it. Keep putting characters in.
I just think that the more characters you put in, the more balancing issues you're going to have.
Well, that's why they did balancing years after the game came out.
All right. Going into our topic of the week, I'm going to do this in reverse order of what's in the agenda, just because I think the first part is going to be the conversation-heavy part. Yes.
Okay.
Yield, I know how you feel, because we kind of had a conversation about this in text last night, but all right. First, Assassin's Creed Shadows requires an internet connection to install, but not to play after. This is coming from IGN and written by Ryan Dinsdale. Ubisoft has confirmed an internet connection will be required to install the game when it releases, but not to continue playing. This continues the trend as of late of a required online connection to install. So those hoping to take your console offline to get started sooner, better that rethink your first day plans. This is weird to me. This is what, the second or third game they did this to?
Welcome to the new.
But Ubisoft's the only one doing this right now, right?
I'm sure there's going to be more people buying into this program where you can't play your game unless you connect it to online, which, I mean, here's the thing. I don't know. It doesn't talk about whether it's because of a patch or a check-in or whatnot. If it's just a check-in, it's the nature of having the way the systems are done these days. Like I've said in the past, you want to own your game, don't own anything past a PlayStation 2.
I don't think this is a check-in, because it doesn't require you to be online to play it, just the initial install.
Yes, it's a check-in for the install.
All right, Alex, your thoughts on this?
Wasn't Ubisoft one of the first companies to come out and agree with the whole $70 MSRP for games this start of this generation? I thought Ubisoft was pretty loud and pretty upfront about that. Does anybody else remember that?
Yeah, because it's their quadruple A games.
So, I mean, they're at the forefront of, when games are changing, and maybe not necessarily in the best ways, Ubisoft's kind of at the forefront of that. So, and I'm not saying I have a problem with paying $70 for games. That's not what I'm saying. But Ubisoft being out front, this doesn't really they've gone some changes, and the Ubisoft, I don't know, you could put them on the same playing field to me as EA these days, because the Ubisoft of old, that's not the Ubisoft we got now. And the sad thing is, Yves Guillemot, who is the guy who's in charge of it now, was also the guy at the head of it when, as Jamie said, when they were doing Rayman-ass things. So, it doesn't surprise me. Ubisoft are who they are. They're, every company's going to be about making money, but it's become very much at the forefront of their strategy, and you can see it. Like, I feel like old Ubisoft, it was like, we'll make really good games and we'll make money off of that. And now I feel like it's like, what games can we make to make money? I've just gotten a different vibe from Ubisoft in recent years. And it may be because the cost of making games has skyrocketed. And maybe it comes down to a lot of that. But I also don't see Ubisoft as the same company as I did even, 10 years ago.
All right, Yield.
Why is it this hard to play video games?
See,
That's going to be my flag for right now. It doesn't make any sense. Why do you need an internet connection to install your game?
The only comment I'll make about this...
So basically, I look at it as they're acknowledging the key.
The only comment I'll make about this is this only affects physical gamers. For the digital ones, I don't think this is going to be an issue because obviously you got to be online to download the game.
Yeah, you got to be online to download it.
You make it as big of a pain in the ass for physical players to play games as possible. Move them over to digital because digital is where you don't really necessarily, to Ubisoft's point, own the games. We've argued whether owning physical copies is actually owning the games, but for certain, we can all look at digital games and say that, we've seen people lose licenses for digital games. We've seen that, with certain things like the Discovery shows and all that, you've bought content on an account and that content got taken away. So making it hard on people to buy physical games maybe pushes away people from physical games. We know that the diehards like Yield, they're not going to do that. They're just not going to play the games.
Yep, they don't play your game.
But yeah, I could see that being like, they're pushing towards digital, and I could definitely see this being a way that they're like, you know what, if you're going to play physical, you're going to pay for it.
All right, JB from the chat says, I think it's terrible for the internet to be required, bad for gamers, bad for future-proofing. Roboto says, all the changes in video games have been predominantly negative. Of course, Ubisoft is going to be at the forefront of this bullshit. And then Joe says, you need the internet for everything. It's 2024.
However...
Hey Joe, I don't need the internet to go smack a rock with a stick. It's 2024.
How about it's 2035 and you bought this game secondhand and you want to install it and it needs to phone home and there's nothing to phone home to.
Next part of the topic of the week. Assassin's Creed Shadows has a day one missions available only through the season pass or by pre-order. And this is coming from IGN, written by Ryan Dinsdale as well. As is standard for Ubisoft, AC Shadows will launch with several different versions, ranging from the standard $70 base game all the way to the $130 Ultimate and the $280 Collector's Edition. Matt's note, what in the actual fuck? Only those who order the Gold Edition or higher, starting at $110, will have access to 2 additional missions on day 1. One mission is locked behind a pre-order, while the order will be locked by the season pass. Details around the missions have not been shared as of yet.
So apparently all the backlash of Star Wars Outlaws did nothing to sway Ubisoft, because here we are again with some of this bullshit. The more and more that Ubisoft does, the less and less I like them.
Joe says in the chat, so they can sell your dumbass a remastered version 35 years later.
Joe and I have no room to talk because we keep buying the Nintendo bullshit that they re-release.
Just right, what, 10 minutes after Matt mentioned the Mario RPG remake. And the Thousand Year Door remake as well.
Which I'll be picking up here shortly.
Of course you will.
All right, I think
the Thousand Year Door was really good.
And I never played the original Thousand Year Door.
You didn't? It's good.
No, I didn't have a Super NES back in the day. I didn't have an N64. Joe took off his head, or Alex took off his headset and he's leaving.
No, he's going to turn the light on.
It's funnier when I said it.
I know. I'm sorry. I was just trying to give it our audio listeners. All right, so I don't think we need to talk about this. I think we all think it's bullshit hiding missions behind the season pass and pre-ordering.
Now, the second time Ubisoft has done it.
They're not going to change.
Hey, Tricky, hope you're going to enjoy Division 3 with a... You got to spend $200 to play all the missions you want to get the season pass.
And I'll pay it. I'm part of the problem, I know.
Tricky is the target. They're like, Tricky Mick, okay, how much should we make the collector's edition? Fuck it, $500, he'll pay it.
$1 million. Okay.
All right, Roboto, I'm not going to read your comment in the chat, but we're literally going into that right now. All right, this is the part of the show that I was nervous about doing.
Tricky's butthole is puckering right now.
I don't get to comment on the other one, but that's okay.
What about the day one missions?
Yeah.
Oh, I
skipped right over me. You
no.
Alex, you went to Matt.
I did
kind of butted in.
I actually didn't go to anybody. I just if you want to make a comment, go ahead. I just thought it was. I thought we were just agreeing that it's all bullshit to hide the missions behind pre-orders, and
it absolutely is all bullshit that they're hiding the missions behind pre-orders. But that's kind of it.
Ed?
If it's a story mission, it's bullshit. If it's just an extra mission that doesn't really, like a side mission that doesn't really amount to anything, that would be part of a pre-order bonus. Is how I take it. Like Sniper Elite always hid Kill Hitler behind a pre-order bonus. All right, I was okay with that. Although everybody wanted to kill Hitler in the Sniper Elite games, that was part of pre-ordering the game, right? It had no effect on the main story of the mission, and I was okay with that. The prices for their collector's editions, you better be giving me some physical shit, because if you're giving me just a bunch of digital shit, you can take your collector's edition and turn that sumbitch sideways, and you know where to shove it. So, yeah, there.
I do want to look up the collector's edition now, because I meant to do this earlier when I saw the show notes.
For $280, I better be getting a lot of physical stuff, and for $100, I better be getting not quite as much. But that's just me. I'm old school.
Hold on. I got to look at this, because it does look like a badass statue.
For what, the 280 or the 130?
The 280. Here, I'll share my screen with you. Share screen. Hold on. All right, so you guys should be able to see it now. It does look like a badass statue.
Okay, but what else are you getting for the 280? Physical.
All right, so the high quality collector's edition also includes a statue which is 15.7 inches tall, a unique steel bookcase, collector's art book which is 84 pages, Noe's Katana Suba, I hope I'm saying that right, which is life-sized, a world map, a Creed wall scroll which is 27 by 11 by 12 inches, and 2 Sumi lithographs which are 6 inches by 8 inches each. And you get to play the game 3 days before the official launch date.
Okay, I don't care about the 3 days early stuff. That's just some new thing that they're going with, which annoys me, but whatever. Well, at least you're getting
what other things can we throw in here to justify $280?
All right, so
wow. Okay, had to look
there
it up.
go.
The Suba is the sword guard, so you get a life-size version of the guard on her sword.
Oh, okay.
The scroll looks kind of neat. The art book, honestly, I feel like anymore they just throw that stuff in there, and it's cool to flip through it like the first time you get it, and then it just goes back in the box, and I never look at it again.
Roboto says, you tell him yield, and a steelbook with no disc is like a car with no tires.
Well, do we not get a disc with this? Because you're right. Don't get me started on the steel bookcase and no game.
Hold on. Let me look. It does say
game physical disc.
It does say basic.
Get a disc with the, okay.
Yes.
That's good. So that's another thing that chaps my rear end. But
Yield, I get it for you, but for somebody like me, I'd rather get a digital code.
I know. For somebody like you would, and that's why I've always said that. I know they're not ever going to do that, but that's why there should be a both.
Yeah, there should be an option for both. All right. Let's get into my butthole puckering, as Alex pointed out. This is coming from IGN and written by Matt Kim. Headline is, "Let's not pretend we're mad the new Assassin's Creed Shadow Samurai isn't Asian." Go read this article because this is an opinion piece, so to speak, but it does cover a lot of what the issues facing the internet today is. With the announcement of the new Assassin's Creed Shadows, there is a bit of controversy over the developer's choice to focus on, I'm going to mess up his name, Yasuke, a notable and black historical figure. The author of the article talks about the controversy surrounding the developer's decision, but provides some insight into the experience of games based on Japanese culture, star an Asian protagonist. The author says there's no shortcoming of Asian protagonists in games. Just looking at Ghost of Tsushima, Sekiro, Way of Samurai, Onimusha, and the list goes on. What the author says about representation in video games is that they want to see more Asian protagonists in roles that don't conform to historical roles like samurai or ninja. He uses Ghostwire Tokyo as an example of this game, as it's set in modern-day Tokyo with an Asian protagonist. Ultimately, the author doesn't find an issue of missed representation with the latest AC game, just highlighting there's a desire to see more representation outside of normal historical accurate Japanese settings.
Okay. So before you go any further.
Well, I'm done.
Okay, no. So you explain to me why the internet's in an uproar. This is what we were talking about last night, that I am confused. I started reading this article, and I was totally confused. Matt's Cliff Notes has made it a little clearer. So I want you to explain to me, somebody that doesn't know why the internet's in an uproar, why is the internet in an uproar?
They're in an uproar because they're saying that the Cliff Notes version.
Can I?
Or if Matt can explain it, Matt explain it.
Matt, go ahead.
Right. So there's two different aspects here that the internet is looking at. One, because it's a Japanese-based game, there's people out there who feel that they should have had an Asian Japanese protagonist instead of focusing on Yasuke. And as a result, you got the people in uproar about that because he's not Asian. Two, you've got people who are arguing on both sides to say, well, in the game, he's being depicted as a samurai, but in real life, he was not a samurai, but in real life, he was a retainer of Oda Nobunaga. Therefore, he was technically a samurai. And I'm not a historical expert. I'm not going to turn around and talk about whether he was or wasn't. I'm going to say people are taking a very funny stance on historical accuracy in an Assassin's Creed game when you've had games in the Assassin's Creed line that includes gods, monsters, mythical beasts, magic, shit like that. The Assassin's Creed games used to start with a very intricate attention to detail when it comes to accuracy. They didn't want the first Assassin's Creed game to have crossbows because, there were no crossbows at that time. And then when it went to the second series of Assassin's Creed, they were like, fuck it, crossbows, whatever. The point being, for the people that are arguing in this game, since this trailer dropped, is there's people saying, well, Yasuke there's a problem. It's a big African-American black guy who it isn't making him very stealthy. Something happens, they're looking at the outsider. Okay, I get that point. That's why there's a second character, a female ninja assassin, who's playing the pretty predominant Assassin's Creed portion of that. You guys played... Who played not Origins, the Odyssey?
I played it.
Okay. You were not always a stealthy assassin. You were a badass Spartan warrior in that game, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So let's take that argument off the table as it relates to Yasuke not being... stealthy. He doesn't need to be. You have the stealth ninja for that part. So to answer your question, Yield, people are upset because of A, they feel it's a misrepresentation, B, that they're misrepresenting historical accuracy. Those are the real two boilerplate arguments that people are getting at.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because I am totally in the dark about this. It just sounds like to me that it's the internet wanting to complain about something. And I kind of got the gist about this because if...
Yes and no. Because that you're never going to take that aspect out of the internet. That's just fact. You're never going to take that aspect out of the internet. But this is the problem is the way I see it. Okay, and Matt has a point because the Assassin's Creed games have gone off the rails several times. But the Assassin's Creed games are predominantly known for getting a lot of history correct and incorporating the history into their games as part of the story.
Okay, so if there was a black gentleman who
may or may not have been a samurai
in the samurai line, or with I'm drawing a blank here, who would be like the head of a samurai clan? What would be his designation?
Well, it depends. I mean, you have lords, you have shoguns, you have daimyos.
So
it depends.
I'm thinking shogun. Thank you. So if he was like running next to a shogun or whatever, because like I said, I kind of read the article, so he seemed like he had been given an important role or seat in that clan. If, to me, this is a legit person in history, whether or not he was a samurai, I'm hearing that it's debatable. But
it is.
I look at that as that could be the developers. We want to focus on this character. We're going to make them a samurai. Okay, because Assassin's Creed games have never, at least the one I played and what I've known of Assassin's Creed, they haven't been like 100% historically accurate. They take elements of history as much as they can, and they weave that into their story.
Yeah, they do take liberties.
Clout. So I'm still kind of confused, but it just feels to me like this is the internet. We have nothing to throw a hissy fit about, so we're going to throw a hissy fit about this.
Well, as I said in our text chat, I think this is part of this, at least, is everybody's dumping on Ubisoft right now, and everybody's just dogpiling on them now.
Well, they've kind of brought it on themselves. It's no different than when we all dogpiled on EA.
Correct.
I mean, if you've thrown it, you're gonna get it thrown back.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to add, or can I move on for it?
No. I just wanted to make sure that I was.
All right, Alex.
Understanding where my thought process was going, I guess.
All right, Alex, your thoughts.
So when I was playing the, I can't remember it was, I think it was Assassin's Creed 2. I actually recently, my dad and I had gone to Italy, and I was actually like, some of the pictures I got in real life, I could match up to locations in the game. And I actually wrote an article for Sarcastic Gamer about it because I was so impressed about how being able to go to like Venice and seeing some of the stuff, the landmarks in Venice being in the game. Like, I was really impressed by that. And, Ubisoft always has their thing that they put in front of or traditionally they put in front of the Assassin's Creed games, where it's like, this game was made by a group of people, multicultural, of various thoughts and ideas. Like, the whole thing, like, we have a diverse team of people making this, essentially. So it seems like when it comes to the Assassin's Creed games, they put a lot of careful thought into how they're put together. And like there's not 100% completely accurate, but also like they go into enough of the history to, be able to build a world around that. As far as like the stealth aspect of, Yasuke can't be too stealthy because he's too big. I mean, I played Assassin's Creed Origins, and the stealth element and being able to kill people stealthily was easy as pie. It was so laughably easy. Like, the stealth is pretty much all gone out of Assassin's Creed, so I don't know why people are complaining about that. But I'll go to a point that Yield made, and it's basically like, this guy, Yasuke, was a legitimate person, at least a historical person that we can actually look back to, and there's written text about. So if that is the case, where this is based on a historical person, I have no issues with it being Yasuke, be a black man being the main character of this game. One of maybe two characters you play as. I have zero issues with that. You're building off a historical figure. This person existed. Who cares if he's Asian or not?
All right. Roboto says in the chat, folks have been clamoring for, I again, say his name for me, Matt.
Yasuke.
Thank you. In video games and media forever. Ubisoft ran with that. I get that with the woke witch hunt that is all the rage right now, Ubi had to know that the brouhaha was coming. Everyone is talking about it. Sounds like good marketing.
And that could very well be too.
All right.
Listen, I'm all for stealth games. I love them. I've played many of them. And my problem is I haven't enjoyed an Assassin's Creed game in a long time. And I don't think ever.
Black Flag was amazing. I'm just saying.
I know, but then that was more pirate ship than
being stealthy. No, you're right.
So my issue is again, going back through playing Ghost of Tsushima, I'm loving everything this game has done. And the culture, and I just got done watching Shogun, which was an awesome show. And they're striking while the iron is hot on the Japanese culture stuff. And it was said when Ghost of Tsushima was made, I forgot who said it. Maybe one of you guys can search up the quote. But there was a company out there, a head of a studio out there said a Japanese company should have made this game. And he wasn't saying that in a derogatory manner. He was saying it that an American company made Ghost of Tsushima and took massive respect and intricacy and took details into the game and infused it with the Japanese culture that it so needed and that many people were missing, that he's surprised a Japanese game company hasn't made a game like this. Now here comes Ubisoft, and they've always said that they don't want to just make another Ghost of Tsushima. Like, if they're going to do a Japanese-based Assassin's Creed, they want it to be significant. They want it to be significant culturally, and where we want it to make sure that it's with due respect. So they're focusing on Yasuke, which proves the author's point that if you're going to make a game, subvert expectations by focusing on something other than traditional roles. If they were to just throw another Asian protagonist in this game without blindly thinking, okay, well, we have the female, let's just make the male an Asian protagonist as well, that would be done without thought or consideration to the history. Here, they're putting a black African-American man in a prominent role in a game that he may not have been otherwise considered. And that's exactly what he's saying. He's saying, there's no missed opportunity for representation here. There's a missed opportunity for representation in other games where you could just have an Asian protagonist where normally an exec said, well, we should just make the protagonist white and American. Like that's the idea that he's trying to get at, that if we want representation.
I missed that from the article.
Yeah. And that's ultimately what he was trying to get at, is that there's no shortage of games with Asian protagonists. You're just going to find it in games in traditional roles. Like, let's get away from that. I don't want to say stereotype, but you go back to ancient Japan, you're going to find many Asian protagonists in stories. Let's get into some other stories that you might not see them in. And it's just one of those things. It's like, this goes back to the argument about woke culture. And are you pandering to an audience just because you're making a change, you're inputting in something just to pander to a certain audience, or are you doing it for a specific purpose? And to me, as much as I shit on Ubisoft, I'm actually going to say they're not pandering on this one. They're actually putting thought and effort into this game, and they want to make a legit experience for people to play through and tell a story that maybe is not as told. Like, I'm going to say it. Ghost of Tsushima is wonderful, but it was kind of a typical Japanese samurai story. Whereas Shadows may not be as typical as you think.
Well, Matt, I'll ask you this, and I'll ask everybody else too. I mean, Yield, I know you're not big into the Assassin's Creed games, and Alex, you dipped your toe into one of the latest ones, but people have been asking for years for an Assassin's Creed game based in, Japan. Do you think this is just backlash because Ubisoft finally gave in and gave them a game in Japan, but it's not what they wanted it to be?
It could be. People had high expectations, and when you don't give them what they were hoping, people can be upset.
Alex, I'll throw that question to you.
Who knows? Maybe. I mean, people have an idea of if you put based on where or what time in history a game is located, what the protagonist should probably look like based on the majority population. I agree with the author of the IGN article in that the point is having more representation for Asians outside of games that we've seen them in. You don't just have, it's like we can have Asian protagonists outside of the Yakuza series, for instance, So I agree with the article in that point. And like I said, I don't have an issue with Yasuke being the protagonist of the game. I just don't. I think it would have been easy for Ubisoft just to make up a random Asian gentleman to play the main protagonist. But instead they went with a historical figure, and that shows that they looked deeper into the the thought process than just, let's just have an Asian sidekick and an Asian protagonist and then we're done. So I on that level, I think they don't deserve to be they don't deserve the heckling or the backlash they've gotten. They want to focus on somebody from history, and they've done their research on it. Why give them shit for it?
Dex says Sleeping Dogs. I never played that game.
So Sleeping Dogs is a crime drama game. It's set in I can't remember if it's Japan or Hong Kong, but the idea is you follow an Asian protagonist. He's an undercover cop, and it's an awesome. I can't even call it a GTA clone, because you have to play the balance between things you do to get with the gangs, or basically you have to follow the law, and you're playing that role. And because you are in Hong Kong, thank you, Dex, because you're in Hong Kong, you have an Asian protagonist, because that's what the story deems fit. You have to do that. You're not going to get an undercover white man in with the triads. Like, that's just not going to happen. So it fits in the needs of the story, and it's done very well with respect to the source material and respect to the subject. So it's an amazing. And Saber says Sleeping Dogs basically Grand Theft Auto Hong Kong, where you play an undercover cop, and it's amazing. It's while it's been done before, again, being done in that format is an awesome way that they tell that story. And again, featuring an Asian protagonist appropriately, not just being done because, we need to throw an Asian protagonist in this game. It's because it fits the story and the need.
Dex says it would have been funny if you put a white protagonist in the triad.
It's like one of those things where there's an elephant in the room and you're like, everybody paying attention to the elephant? No?
It would have been like the beginning of RoboCop, where the guy got just shot all to hell. Well, game over.
Or Tropic Thunder. What are you talking, you people? What do you mean, you people?
All right, so Matt, you kind of went on the Sleeping Dogs right there, but do you think it's the backlash because they're finally getting their Assassin's Creed game in Japan and it's not what they wanted it to be? You think that's part of the backlash?
Part of it, yeah. I think people are saying, well, this is not what we asked for, but you're going to get people like that all the time. I think they are really trying to tell a unique, interesting story here, just like Shogun did. And I think it's really a great opportunity for them to explore something that normally doesn't get told in a setting like this. I think the stories I was reading, Yasuke appeared in the Neo series, which, people weren't talking shit about that game because they just threw him in there, though he wasn't the protagonist. So now he is.
All right. Catch up on the chat. Saber says, I guess in a reference to Sleeping Dogs, it had the first Red Wedding, which is a Game of Thrones reference as well. And Joe says Sleeping Dogs was an amazing game. All right. That is going to bring us to the end of our show. Thank you guys for paying attention so long. And we are over the 2-hour mark, which is Alex's least favorite thing because he has to edit this week. So, Alex, I will start you off with the shout-out, sir.
Give a shout-out to our awesome community. We had a lot of action going in the chat, lots of questions. So thank you all very much for showing up on your Sunday night. We appreciate you all. Give a shout-out to Tricky, Yield, and Matt for recording tonight. And a shout-out to the Beetlejuice production we went to see last night, the Kentucky Center for the Arts. The stage show, very good. If it ever comes to your town, you should go see it because it's quite excellent. Last but not least, give a shout out to my loving girlfriend, Ashley. I love you, hon. And yeah, that's it.
Yield, your shout out, sir.
Shout out to Tricky, Matt, and Alex for recording tonight. Shout out to all the whoredom who was hanging out in Twitch and asking questions and interacting with us as we were recording. Shout out to Nitro and Predator Scum and the Brain 76 and Homer Gets Stuffed for some Rocket League and some Helldivers too this week. Shout out to my gaming niece who helped me get the platinum in Sackboy's Big Adventure. And another shout out to my twin nieces who graduated high school this week. And shout out to all the pimps and the madams of the whoredom.
We're getting old, Yield.
I already know that. My body's falling apart every day.
Next year, my daughter's going to be a junior in high school. This makes me old. Matt, your shout out, sir.
Evidently, Neptune Princess has a shout out to her kid who graduates this week, too. Shout out to you three gents. This was a very interesting, funny show. I appreciate tonight. The conversation was great. Shout out to everybody that was in chat tonight. Almost too many to name. We had a lot of people in chat tonight, so I appreciate it. Especially, Saber, who brought a lot, Roboto, who brought a lot, Joe brought some stuff regarding no Rangers and Rangers sucking. So there was that. Dex, appreciate the conversation. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. Make sure you go to channel3.gg, social media site for gamers. Got some fun mini games for you all to play. So come on out, find us. And shout out to my wife, V. Thank you for everything you do on and off the show.
Shout out to Sweet Mama D. Shout out to the Goddess. Shout out to the listeners. Shout out to you guys for keeping the show going last week when I was under the weather. I am healing, for anybody that wants to know. Joe says, shout out to Matt, the savior of the masses.
I wouldn't say that.
I am healing. It's gonna be a while. I'm just glad I could be on this week's show. I'm not feeling too hot today, but I was able to get through the show, which is good. Shout out to everybody in the chat. A couple of people I think came in from Channel 3. Matt, a couple of names I didn't recognize.
Saw Ray there.
Ray, and what was Jamie too?
Jamie.
Yeah. I assume Jamie was from Channel 3. But yeah, thank you everybody. Until next week, happy trophy hunting.
See ya.
All hail Megatron.
Say goodbye, Alex.
Later.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12th Zone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.